record.
PokeRamble Podcast.
On this week's episode, we'll be discussing the big Nintendo Giga Leaks that gave us all things from the Platinum demo to some news about an MMO, which I think everyone's been asking for. So without further ado, let's get into it. Welcome to episode 10 of the PokeRamble Podcast. I'm your host, Kumail, and I'm joined as ever by the Battle Frontier Brain himself, Amit. How are you, my friend?
I'm so good. Shouldn't it have been without further ado?
Whoa, that's big brains sort of level, sort of punnery that I could only dream to achieve.
Nice.
But I'll keep it in the back of my head for next time. But yeah,
I've had Gen 4 in my mind all week.
Oh my god, I wish I was as fortunate as you to be able to be doing stuff like that. But no, another episode, a little milestone for us, episode 10.
Woo!
And he's excited in the chat. He's awake. It's 6 a.m. where he is. But thank you for joining us, Ben. So yeah, on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about all things Nintendo Giga Leaks. But before that, there's a lot of sort of miscellaneous news that we need to talk about. So are you ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. What's Pokemon going on? So this is the section of the podcast where we talk about Pokemon Go, if you didn't get it by the pun. But hey, it's been Dragon Week this week, so dragons are there, dragons are here, dragons are everywhere. So we've got this event till August 7th at Friday, 9 p.m. GMT. But I actually wanted to talk about something that comes after the Dragon Week, because that'll be after Dragon Week ends, and it'll be on the 7th of August, and the podcast is not till the 9th of August. So let's talk about it now. I don't know why I put myself into that little quagmire. I don't. It's like let's talk Pokemon. So Enigma Week is happening, and you're gonna have Deoxys out there in raids, and for the first time ever, you can catch a shiny Deoxys if you're lucky. Alongside shiny Deoxys, you're gonna have shiny Staryus about, so if you're lucky, you can pick yourself up one of those. And there'll also be unknown letters in raids, which is, I think, this is the first time we've ever had unknowns in raids. But the unknowns that will be in raids are U, L, T, R, and A. So make sure you just catch one of each, because traditionally they're very difficult to find. I
have a really interesting fact about unknown, just while you mention it. They ban
wait. Unknown fact of the week?
No, this is not unknown fact of the week. This is bonus unknown fact of the week.
Go on, I've got the logo up.
So they actually banned certain types of unknowns from VCG, so that you can't spell out rude words in your team name.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
That would have made a really good unknown fact of the week for another week, but thank you for wasting it here at this very moment.
That's all right. You're very welcome. I do nothing but waste. It's great.
But on top of unknowns being in raids, you can have Pokemon in the wild, such as Clefairy, Jigglypuff, Staryu, Lunatone and Solrock, Baltoy, Bronzor, and Elgyem, which I think is the first time Elgyem's been about. But hey, that's the Pokemon sort of Go event after the current one we've got on August the 7th. But apart from that, Magicop's going to be making a splash because it is the next Community Day. So this Community Day will be August 8th, and I've just realised that's next week. Oh my god, I can't have a break from Pokemon. Help me. But yeah.
Why would you want a break from Pokemon?
Well, Pokemon Go. I don't want to be just looking at my phone for like 5 hours. But yeah, no, that's coming to raids, and you'll be able to coming to the game, and you'll be able to find shiny Magikarp more often than not. So make sure you catch your shiny Magikarp, because you need 400 candies to evolve into a Gyarados, and we know Gyarados is going to be joining the game as a Mega Evolution later on. But that's Magikarp Community Day on August 8th. For September, for August, you've got your Research Breakthrough reward, which is a Scraggy, and you're a big fan of Scraggy, especially since he was on that Looney Tunes-esque sort of Pokemon episode on the Pokemon Japan Twitter account.
Yeah, that was so
The
much
YouTube
fun. We talked about it on the podcast. If you haven't seen the Pokemon crossover with Looney Tunes, go check it out. Scraggy is hilarious.
So yeah, that's another thing to be aware of. And the last thing I just wanted to touch on was I said I'd talk about the Pokemon Go Fest that happened last week. And I just want to say it was a fun experience. The only problem for me is it's constantly ongoing. And so if you're someone that wants to catch them all, if you want to try and maximize your opportunities to catch a shiny, you're constantly going to have to be on your phone. And I did not enjoy being on my phone constantly the entire day. And there was also like survey issues that was happening throughout the first day. So they've announced they're going to be making a makeup event in a couple of weeks' time. So we'll mention it on the podcast closer to the time. But it was a fine Go Fest. I think maybe they need to make it a bit more cheaper for the sort of Pokemon Go from home experience. But generally it was a fun event. And the second day was really fun because Team Rocket were everywhere. And so there was a lot of Team Rocket opportunities to battle against them, battle Giovanni, battle the 3 sort of executives in the game that are exclusive to Pokemon Go. But yeah, generally it was fun. Probably not worth the amount of money we paid, but yeah, it was fun. But there was still some issues, and it was a bit frustrating having to be on my phone constantly to benefit from the event, let's say. But that is it for Pokemon Go, unless you've got anything to add on there.
No. I mean, one of the things I've discovered on my phone is that I can have apps overlaying other apps. So that's my solution for having to be on my phone all day is I can have a video at the top and then I can have Pokemon Go running in the background. That would be my solution.
Fair enough. And yeah, I've seen your eyes.
I should definitely lend you my
so.
Pokemon Go. Yeah, I should lend you my Pokemon Go Plus as well. Sounds like you need it.
Yeah, I probably do. But even then, you it's a very low chance of you catching the Pokemon with a Pokeball if it's rare. But anyway,
I didn't know that.
Anyway, we will move on to the next section. So you want to be a Pokemon Masters? Pokemon Masters news. So, first up on the Pokemon Masters news list is Lyra has been revealed. So we had Summer Steven revealed last week, and this week we had Lyra revealed as the other Summer Sync pair. And I just wanted to ask you, what did you think of the design? Because it wasn't something I was expecting. Or I wasn't even expecting.
I really
Lyra.
like it. I like that they've played into the Johto culture, obviously being, based on Japan. So it's a really cute design. It's a nice outfit, and really nice that they've gone for something more unusual, like rather than just a swimsuit or something like that. They've gone for traditional Japanese summer garb. It's really, really nice.
Yeah, in a lot of gacha games, the way they sort of get you is like, oh look, you've got this person as a special unit, and look, she's wearing a bikini. And it's like, oh, let me waste all my money, and it totally didn't happen to me in real life. I may have spent too much money.
Yeah, I mean, credit to DNA for designing a really nice character and for not going down that route.
Yeah. I mean, because we did think that it would make sense for Cynthia to appear in the game with a swimsuit because one, there's popular demand from the internet, I guess, if you follow the Pokemon Masters subreddit. But also they mentioned it in game, and like traditionally in the mainline games, there's a reason for her to be in that sort of attire because she was staying at Caitlin's beach house, wasn't she? So yeah, but no, it's really nice to see that they've centered it around a Japanese sort of summer, and concentrated on a sort of like a summer festival of sorts. So you can see she's wearing a yukata with a little pouch and whatnot. And if you've been to Japan and you go to somewhere like Meiji Jingu or something, you'll see people with their yukatas and the little pouch bag and whatnot. So yeah, it's very nice. And you actually made a really good point off stream, is that it represents Johto as a region, because Johto's very traditionally Japan inspired.
Yeah, and I think it's like I said, I think it's really nice that they've done something fitting to the region.
Yeah.
It's a really cool design. Credit to DNA.
Yeah.
Again,
we've got CJ Gamer TV on the live chat saying that he expected Wallace or Cynthia, and I think Wallace would have been a good shout as well, I guess. Well, just being someone that likes being around water.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought maybe Misty or Wallace is a really good shout as well. But no, they've gone with something completely kind of unexpected, and it's worked really well.
Hey, but we might get a different sort of Cynthia in the future. Who knows? But the other thing with Lyra is that she's got Jigglypuff as a partner. And what do you think of Jigglypuff? Have you read up about Jigglypuff at all?
I have. It's a very unusual character. As a sync pair, they're definitely unique, and have some really interesting abilities. I think I've seen some people use it really well. I've seen some people say it's quite tricky to use, which I think is fair. I couldn't work out if it evolved. I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't.
So I think you get your Jigglypuff and you rock Jigglypuff. But
Yeah.
it's exciting to have a really strong fairy type in the game finally. I mean, Valerie was not bad. I'm certainly using Valerie for some of the events that are in game at the moment.
She's
We'll
not
talk more about that in
spectacular
a
by
sec.
any means, though.
But no, she's certainly not top tier material. But Jigglypuff is doing very, very well. So nice to have a really strong fairy type in the game finally.
Yeah, and as CJ points out, it's our first 5-star fairy type sync pair. So
yeah, we all thought it would be Diantha. It's not.
no, eventually we might get the anther, but who knows? Imagine we get trolled in the anniversary, like, haha, no blue or Signa Suit Leaf. It's gonna be Diantha. Please.
I wouldn't call that a troll. I'd be totally fine with that.
I mean, if the 6th month anniversary was red, I mean, come on, you know, come on. Mind you, I've got bias towards.
She's champion.
Yeah, but red is the GOAT, you know.
People say that about Cynthia as well.
That's fair. That's fair. I've heard it both ways. But I think Jigglypuff is a good sync pair if you're someone that's got Serena like you, because a lot of abilities on her sync grid is related to having your opponents asleep and doing extra damage whilst your opponents are asleep. So maybe a good pull if you've got Serena. But hey, that's enough speculation from me, because Lyra came with an event alongside Summer Steven, and I think we've both played it. I've still got one more stage to go, but I want to just give people a heads up that we will discuss this in length next week, so just make sure you complete it by then. It's not actually that hard to get the enough sort of tokens to be able to complete the event, so yeah, just play the summer event. It's quite fun, and I mean, you have discussed about some of the cool things they've referenced in there, which is
yeah, I mean, I'll keep spoiler free for those who haven't played it. It's a really nice story. It's actually a fuller story than I've seen from some of the other events as well. So it's very funny as always. They draw on the weirdest and most nuanced aspects of the lore from the games in actually a really cool way. There's a really cool reveal in one of the later stories that I had no idea about, and you texted me and said you had no idea about either. So
yeah, I was
definitely
really
go
surprised.
yeah, definitely go and check it out, the story, because it's well worth playing.
Indeed. But you know what? Some people are saying it's not worth playing at the moment, and why is that? Because they've added some things in this big update. Talk to me.
So yeah, we talked a long time ago that Pokemon Masters were going to be adding a stamina system to the game. I think I remember at the time, saying I was quite excited. It might be one of the things that got me back into the game. Turns out the thing that got me back into the game was Serena being a really strong sync pair. But yeah, the stamina system's in the game. It's been running now for 4 or 5 days. We've both obviously been playing the game pretty extensively whilst the stamina system's been live.
Yeah,
it's a very different game. It feels different. It plays different. My interaction with the game is very different with the stamina system.
I think that's a big thing. The game hasn't changed too much in terms of what you can do in the game. It's just how much you can do in the game and when you can do it in the game.
Yeah, and one of the things that always used to put me off phone games was stamina systems. I used to hate having to wait for stamina to recharge to play a game that I wanted to play. I've never been a fan of having to set my calendar and schedule around, making sure that I'm back in the game before all my energy recharges, so I'm not wasting energy cycles.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me. I mean, I remember saying that I was really excited for the stamina system, when we first talked about this. And I think my views have shifted now that I'm actually playing the game.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I was quite excited about in Masters is that I was starting to catch up with players who've been playing the game for a long time. So, I was able to grind through leveling up my characters, and I was able to level up, and unlock a lot of the things that I needed to in order to kind of catch up and compete with the most difficult content.
Yeah, at the very least, you had the sort of tools and opportunity to level up certain sync pairs in a few days to make sure you don't miss out on events and sort of medal events. And
it's entirely optional. So the game doesn't force you to rush through it. You can play it at your own pace. But now with the stamina system, even if you wanted to, unable to kind of catch up with the best players, or or get your team strong enough to take on some of that post game content, because you're limited in how much you can do per day. And I have seen people on Reddit and things like that talk about starting a brand new account and just seeing how quickly they could level up and rank up. And for a lot of people, it's not remotely quicker than it was before.
Hmm.
So they are getting to a stage where they come to a grinding halt, and they can't kind of level up quickly enough, and they can't do things that they could do before. And it's hard, and I'm finding it difficult as well, because obviously I'm super excited to be playing the game, and I want to try and keep up with the content, but so far I'm struggling with the stamina system. And I think the bit that makes it really difficult is that they've also introduced skip tickets, which allow you to basically auto play an event without even having to load the event. You can just say, I want to skip it, and you get all the rewards, but don't do the event. So you can burn
You
through your
have to do it
stamina in about
once at
50.
least to unlock the
Yeah,
ability
you
to
do have
skip
to do
it.
it once to unlock the ability, but the thing that's really tricky about it is obviously once you've done that, you can actually just burn through all your stamina for the day in about 15 seconds by just using skip tickets. So
Yeah, and just wait 9 hours for it
it's
to refill.
yeah, it's tough. I mean, I'm coming to terms with it, but so far I'm struggling with it. Hopefully that will change.
Yeah, I mean, as they said, it's not something they're introducing permanently at this point. It's a trial thing, and they're going to wait for feedback to see how players have reacted to it. But it's very much, I think, as being a long time player, I like sometimes opening up the game at 7 p.m., having a podcast on, and getting through sort of the daily grind of things. But now with the stamina system, it's making me think, well, if I don't play it in the morning, I'm going to have less opportunity to do X, Y, and Z later on. I won't be able to juggle between doing the co-op area and then doing the event area, which I don't know why they've introduced stamina to events, because they said they wouldn't, but they have, evidently. But yeah, it means I have to play earlier to do one part of the game and then wait 9 hours for my stamina to refill to be able to do another part of the game. It's just not how I want to play a game, full stop, So they've
I
given
think
you
a lot of
they've given you abilities to recharge your stamina by using gems, and it's just not something I'm interested in doing, because the whole point of having gems is to be able to get yourself new characters to then train, evolve, and help you with future content. So yeah, I'm not enjoying their stamina system, and I hope it changes soon.
Yeah, no, me too. I mean, let's not derail the podcast moaning about Pokemon Masters, but yeah, it's tough.
No,
I'm not
you know what?
enjoying it.
Let's do it. No, just
We could very easily fill an hour just ranting about Pokemon Masters, but we shouldn't.
but we wouldn't. But I will give credit to the new training area with the co-op orbs. Nice to not have to do a super training course where you have to beat like an ultra hard difficulty boss, take maybe a minute or so, and then have to get like these red soda cannons that you don't need, and get maybe 50 sync orbs with it. Now you can just do a dedicated area to sync orbs, which I like.
Yes, yeah, they've definitely made some improvements to the game.
For real. And I think UI as well has changed a bit in terms of, when you're creating teams and you want to swap people out, it's a lot more streamlined rather than what it used to be like. But that is it for Pokemon Masters, unless you've got anything to say.
I don't think so.
Yeah, moving on. Welcome to the Pokemon Caf. Can I take your order, please? Yeah, Pokemon Caf. What's happening in
Why
Pokemon
was
Caf?
that so miserable?
Just reflecting the experience that most people get when they go to a restaurant or a caf.
Okay, all right, I understand. I can sympathise with that.
So yeah, what's happening with Pokemon Caf, buddy?
So we had the Cafe Grand Prix that we talked about last week. So people hopefully have had a chance to compete and earn lots of acorns for doing that. I still don't understand what acorns are for, but I hope
couldn't
you got
even
lots of
find
them.
an answer. So if someone does have an answer, please let us know in the chat or send us an
I'm sure
email
I'm
at
sure that they are very
pokeramblepod@gmail.com.
useful.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're very useful. But the Grand Prix gave people the opportunity to compete with other players, and also got them lots of nice rewards. So hopefully you all had a chance to take part in it if you were playing Pokemon Masters. Not Pokemon Masters, Pokemon Cafe.
Get out of your head, buddy. Get out of your head.
Ah, the rage. It's just the rage.
But rage against the stamina machine. And
Yes.
we've got another thing added to Pokemon Caf, and what is that, buddy?
Probably my favorite thing I've seen all week is this cute little artwork of Weasel. So Weasel is joining the game Pokemon Cafe on Wednesday, and that artwork is just it's beautiful. It's so cute. It's really nice. I mean, we every week we talk about how lovely the artwork is for Pokemon Cafe. They've done a great job with Weasel, and he joins the game later this week.
Fantastic. Permission to make a bad pun?
Absolutely.
Can you Weasel it? Weasel it?
I
can you
I
believe
like that
it?
you
But
hesitated.
yeah.
I like that you hesitated halfway through.
It was a stretch. It was a stretch. We're moving on. Gotta watch 'em all, Pokemon. I always have to remember not to break my voice when singing that little section. But yeah, we had a bit of a Pokemon anime sort of news, and this one relates to the movie. We've got voice actors for the Japanese movie revealed, and I only recognize two of them. So the ones I recognize is Shoko Nakagawa, who's going to act as Karen. And most people will know her as the singer of the Gurren Lagann theme tune. But outside of that, she's had loads of anime roles, film roles, TV roles, and she actually does the Pokemon television show in Japan that's been running since like 2013. So she's a familiar face for most people. The other one is Koichi Yamadera, who's playing Professor Zed, the mysterious Professor Zed, but his voice actor did Beerus as well in the Dragon Ball Super. And in Gintama, if someone's seen that, he also plays Yoshida. So a couple of big names in there. The other two I didn't recognize, but they're probably really famous in Japan and whatnot. But hey, they give us voice actors. But there's also going to be a live stream. What's this live stream about? I wonder.
Yeah, so there's going to be a live stream next week. I can't remember the exact date. I think it's the 8th. I'm just double checking that now. It's the 5th, thank you. Wednesday the 5th. So there's a live stream next week on Wednesday where they'll be showing The Power of Us. So you can watch the Pokemon movie, the Power of Us, which is the 21st movie, for free on the live stream. And then afterwards they'll have, I think, a little bit of news about Coco as well. So if you're looking forward to the film, if you haven't necessarily seen The Power of Us, go check it out. It should be good fun.
I'm in love with the Coco. Okay, rein it in. And the other last thing for the Pokemon anime news is in Japan we're getting a new opening song next week, and I'm really excited for it. Are there going to be rankings? Maybe one of these days. But hey, that's enough for me for the Pokemon anime. Anything you want to pop up in this section?
No, I'm really excited. I hope that the movie does get to come out this year in the Western release as well. It's looking unlikely, but I do hope it does.
I'm going to totally pretend that I wasn't playing the section music whilst you were talking by accident. But we shall move on.
I love that you asked me if I have anything else to say, and you're like, nah, it's
yeah, I just played it in the middle of you talking.
Perfect podcast.
I know. We're just such pros at what we do.
Absolutely. Hey, I'm a pro. I'm a pro. All right. If you're out there scouting for new podcast talent, I can hold it together.
All I'm saying is, I know a lot of lawyers. And by the time you get started at your new job, they'll be broke. Moving on.
You haven't maybe signed a non-compete clause. You should really do that.
I still don't know what that means, but hey, what I do know is that there was a Pokemon MMO in the works a long time ago. I should say this section's titled, it comes by you by Amit, it's titled, I Just Caught a Far-Fetched Leak.
Nice. So yeah, let's talk about, I guess, our main topic for today, which is the Pokemon news that came out of the Nintendo Giga Leak that happened.
Did we ever establish
on the 20th?
Did we ever establish what a Giga Leak was?
No, we were debating this. So I understand leak, and I can kind of get my head around Mega Leak. But what the difference is between a Mega Leak and a Giga Leak? Like, I understand that Nintendo have had a whole load of IP shared publicly online, a lot of which was probably never made for the public domain. So maybe it's just the sheer volume, but it's certainly not anything to do with the volume of data.
Think of megabit, gigabit, you know?
Yeah, but a lot of this stuff is very old. So if the size of the files are tiny, that's how I'm trying to defend myself.
The hack came from like a 2 terabyte thing. Maybe that's why it's called a Giga League. I don't know.
Then why wouldn't it be called a Terra League?
Oh, now you're asking too many.
Ooh.
Like we might have to silence you after asking these sort of questions.
Let's talk about very quickly the background for the league. So most of the information that we know was revealed through. I'm just trying to find the
Reset
name
Era.
of the outlet. Reset Era. Thank you. And they basically uncovered a whole load of information about things that the Pokemon Company were working on, things they had in the background, and probably the most interesting of those is that there was in 2004 a Poke MMO in development. So basically, there was a company called IQ, that's IQUE, who were working on developing what looks like MMO for Pokemon, and we don't know the ins and outs of exactly how the MMO function would work. But what we do know is that if you'd have played the game offline, then you would have had the ability to catch around 30 Pokemon. And then when you jumped into the online version, the full Pokedex would have been available to you. I think you would have been able to battle other trainers. So it really did look like a quote unquote true MMO. So it's a real shame that we never got to see it come to fruition.
Yeah, you're going to use your GBA as a controller for the MMO and whatnot. I don't know how it would have worked.
Yeah, a theory that you could plug your Game Boy into your computer and stuff. So really, really interesting. We actually do have something called.
Before you mention this, the PokeRamble Podcast in no way condones this or supports this, but go ahead with the next bit.
Absolutely. There is actually an unofficial hacked version of a Poke MMO. Interestingly enough, it's called Poke MMO, and it went live in 2012. So I think it launched with Fire Red, Leaf Green in an MMO style where you could literally battle other trainers and explore the Kanto region. And then I think it's evolved to have other regions as well. And I think I played it at one point because I think when I first met my girlfriend, she actually had played it in the past, and she was like, "We should play this together."
Wait, what?
Which I think
I did not know this.
yeah. I actually found out about Poke MMO from my girlfriend, so we played it together. We started new accounts. We journeyed through, I think Hoenn together, and then we would have gone to Kanto, and then I think the game went through a massive update,
hit and you couldn't fly to Kanto anymore.
we Pokerus hit, and then we couldn't go any further. But yeah, that was how I came across Poke MMO. So it's apparently reasonably popular still. And I don't know whether any of the assets from IQ were ever shared with the people who came up with Poke MMO. I have no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a shame, really, that we never had an official Poke MMO. I think it would have been really interesting.
Indeed, it would have been. But hey, do you know what is interesting?
No.
The fact that we've got all these beta designs coming out of Diamond and Pearl. So
That's true. This is very, very, very interesting.
Before we talk, I've just showed my document out there. Oh god. They're seeing how the cookie's been made. But PokeLeyYT on Twitter is the main reason we've got all these, because he's got into the game and he's managed to extract so much data out of it. So go follow him at PokeLeyYT. I'll just put his Twitter up there. You can see him over here. But yeah, we've got some sprites and I thought we'd have a look at them. So yeah, should we have a scroll and let's talk about them?
Yeah, so some really interesting things came out of the Gen 4 leak. Probably the most interesting of those are some of the what we call beta designs for some of the sprites. You can see as we're scrolling down on the screen, Palkia, Dialga, and then probably the most interesting, if you want to pause there, Beta Arceus. So the original design for the god of all Pokemon was a bit of an amorphous blob.
It's
and
ominous blob.
Is it? It looks ludicrous.
If you woke up and saw that thing looking at you, I'd want to be permanently put to sleep, dude.
I feel like this is the kind of thing where I see a dust ball in the air, and that's probably what I'd see. Like if I woke up and I saw Charizard, I'd be pretty scared, but not if I saw this dust ball floating around.
Yeah, you talk brave now.
It's true. I do talk brave.
I'll arrange something with Sophie to prank you. You know, just record it for the podcast. Good content. But yeah, I don't necessarily think that they were ever going to use this as, Arceus at any point. I think they probably wanted to get the demo running and thought, we haven't sort of fully completed his design yet, or haven't even thought about doing his design, so let's just put this as a sort of thing, as a substitute in there whilst we still work on the design.
And you can see, as we scroll down, you'll see some of the other designs. Some of them are just literally sketches. They're not even in the art style that Pokemon would typically use. So you can tell that this is just placeholder content. And you can see now Beta Garchomp, who was orange originally.
So you were saying that he looked very, very much like an aquatic shark rather than a sand shark in his beta design, which I thought was apt.
I thought that the evolution line looked a little bit more like you might find them in the ocean rather than as a sand shark. I actually really like the design. It's a cool alternative artwork for Garchomp, and I guess maybe one day we'll get something similar. But
this is the reality where Vardy squared the ball over to Sterling, and we scored.
This is a really good comment actually, which is if they ever made this a regional form for Garchomp, I'd be totally fine with it as well.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. I will say that Gibble looks like a Digimon more than anything.
That was my first reaction as well. Is I did think it looked like an early Digimon design.
But what happened to our boy Torterra?
Yeah, Torterra just didn't get. I think it's one of those sort of early drawings, so not fully fleshed out.
More like Torterrifying. Haha.
I thought you were going to go for Torterrable.
Oh, okay. No, I wouldn't. Who am I to criticize this art?
I feel like we've made that same joke before, and you literally said Torterrifying, and I said Torterrable. I think we've made that exact same play-by-play before.
Have you looked at this penguin over here?
Are we about to talk about Beta and Polion? Yeah, Primplop looks very strange. I definitely prefer his final design to this, but he does look. He looks cuter.
No comment.
Some very. The Beta Combi line looks absolutely bizarre. Looks like you've got little pigs inside the honeycomb.
Actually, you're right. It looks like something out of Minecraft.
It does.
And Vespiquen just looks menacing. Like, I thought its original design looked menacing, but this looks even more menacing.
Yeah, I kind of like it actually. It's like an evil queen. I really do like the design for Vespiquen.
I can't really tell too much of difference with Bronzong, but the Hippopotas line, it just looks naked.
Yeah, again, I think this is certainly the Hippopotas. I think looks like just an early design. That's basically a hippo. With no kind of, it's got no Pokemon, no. Well, there's no sort of Pokemon touches to it at all. Hippowdon orange rather than as we now have it grey and/or brown, depending on gender.
Mm-hmm.
But you can see that the concept was kind of there with the spouts for the sand. So, you could see the design was further along the lines than Hippopotas.
Carnivine as well. It's quite close to its final design, to be fair. Maybe the eye is a bit different, but
yeah, it looks like it's been drawn in a very simple, almost MS Paint, but you can certainly see where the design was headed.
Now, this is what I'm sad about, because I would have loved this. I would have loved this Luminion.
Yeah, Luminion looks really nice. I wondered when I first saw it if it was maybe supposed to be the shiny variant, but actually it was the original design, and it's really, really pretty. I think a lot of people would have really liked the design if it had been the real one. Again, another contender for a regional variant, maybe.
Yeah, Ben's just saying that some dude at Game Freak was like, "Oh, we'll use Steve's daughter's drawing on the fridge and put it into the game." Why does some of these really are. He's got an ASBO, an antisocial behavioural.
Yes, yeah, he does look like a troublemaker.
Yeah. Very, very weird looking. Magmortar looks fine, I think.
Yeah, again, it's just an early artwork, but looks very similar to the final design. You can see the cannons on the arms. Yeah, it looks really cool.
Now, Togekiss. Dude.
Yeah, I saw some really interesting theories about Togekiss as to whether this was a beta design or if actually that Togekiss was going to have two different forms, one for the male, one for the female. And this would have been maybe the male design. It's a very, very radically different design to the final form. I actually really quite like it. But I think one of the prevailing theories was maybe it was a differing gender.
Perhaps, perhaps. Who am I to say? I don't think there's anything to say about Yanmega apart from it's still terrifying in its final
Yep.
design. Glasgow
Absolutely.
looks fine. What happened with Probopass?
Yeah, I think this was probably just early design work, and they hadn't finished it. I mean, you could see that the moustache was always the main idea for it, but without all the bits on the sides, his quote unquote arms, he does look very, very strange.
I wish we had like a For Hims or like a Harry sponsorship where we could just put an ad right here and just be like, yeah, talking about mustaches, Harry's is a race cup. But anyway, Beta Rotom.
Yeah, I mean,
This is
wacky
the fridge design that Ben was talking about.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if the design for Rotom was always going to be for it to inhabit appliances, then I guess its amorphous form, quote unquote, doesn't make too much of a difference. But so different to the final design we got.
Mm. Heatran's got some dots where they shouldn't be. Regigigas,
Not too dissimilar.
Regigigas looks like a meme.
Yeah, but still very true to the final form.
What is happening with Arceus?
Yeah. No, this wasn't Beta Arceus. This was Beta Giratina, I believe.
Was this Beta Giratina?
I think it was supposed to be. Yeah, I mean, it almost looks like what we ended up getting with Therian Landorus was the first thing I thought.
Yeah.
Four-legged, winged, wings on the head, and I can definitely see the resemblance between the two. Obviously, nothing like what we got in the final form. And we know it's not Beta Arceus because we saw the dust ball further up. This is definitely meant to be Giratina, but just absolutely, the what I would have called the development concept for Therian Landorus.
Yeah, you can tell. But this is the interesting one, Beta Darkrai. It just looks like a Chad, really.
Yeah, I mean, obviously much skinnier than the final design, almost a bit like a sort of like an evil spirit who's just rushing around.
Mm-hmm.
But what was really interesting about Beta Darkrai is he actually did end up in real Pokemon media. So as a little Easter egg, you can actually see Beta Darkrai in the poster for the Rise of Darkrai movie.
Yep.
Which I think was the 10th movie. So really cool to see that he makes a return there.
Yeah, and Central Pokemon on Twitter was the first one to spot that, so gonna give credit to him over there. Check out their Twitter account. But hey, Shaman has had a haircut during lockdown, clearly.
Yep.
But yeah,
everyone's tending to their gardens.
That's what's happening. I mean, there was a ton more sort of sprites for early generation as well. You can check out PokeRamble. But what some other things that have been leaked out of the sort of demo?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just talk about some random facts as you start scrolling through, but I just wanted to give a real shout out to Beta Pidgeot, which is well worth a look up. Probably the best that Pidgeot's ever looked in any game. I really like Beta Pidgeot. We actually would have had Electivire being called Eleking in one of the original betas. That's how his name would have translated. So we do now have Electivire, but originally we would have had Eleking. We also discovered that Turtwig would have been a grass poison type rather than grass and then evolving into grass and ground. So there's a file that shows that Turtwig originally had the poison type as well as grass, which is very interesting. There was lots of unfinished music themes that we uncovered. So the music for Cynthia.
Well, not even unfinished, but like there were like beta versions, for example. Cynthia.
Yeah, some of them were unfinished, and some of them were different to the final form. But
so Cynthia's the drums on Cynthia's sort of original theme were very subdued compared to the final version, where they really have a prominent part of the soundtrack. What I noticed anyway.
Yeah. We also had the theme for the fight with Dialga or Palkia. A beta theme for the gym victory music and for Victory Road. And lots of the towns as well. So Heartthrob City, Twinleaf Town, Sandgem Town, Floroma Town, a couple of others as well. All slight variations or just in development. So, missing certain instruments or not quite finalized. So really interesting for people who are, really into the Pokemon music, which is always a treat and always one of the most memorable things from each generation. Really interesting to see that, that development process in a way.
Kessel's asking, by the way, would you prefer Electivire or Eleking?
I think I prefer Electivire. I think I do. And the only reason for that is I think Eleking should go to the strongest, greatest electric type Pokemon that there ever will be. And I don't think that's Electivire.
Oh, I've come up a bit that you actually really liked was a Beta Rampardos.
Yeah, Beta Rampardos looked really cool. Honestly, I think a lot of people prefer it to the final design. So this sort of grey brown, sort of stony, real sort of ferocious. I don't look Rampardos is ferocious, but just the horns and everything. It's a really cool, design.
Very angry looking.
Yeah. Actually, just while we're on that, some other beta Pokemon to really go and find if you can. The design for female Pikachu was really different. A lot more feminine than the final design came out.
That's going to be impossible, so that's one that people have to do their homework on.
Yeah. I think you can actually Google it and you'll find it. If you Google beta female Pikachu.
Do I have
and
to?
then, no, of course you don't. Of course you don't.
Beta
And
female
Houndoom actually,
Pikachu.
Houndoom also looked really good as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there we are. Image 2. So you can see that the heart-shaped tail was already in people's minds, but yeah, the female Pikachu looked a lot different to the male. We have something now that other than the tail, really, that's hard to tell. And I'm glad that they went
Hard
that
to
route. I'm
tell.
glad that they didn't make Pikachu overtly feminine.
Cool.
But yeah, that was the beta design.
Anything else on the beta leak stuff that we got, or?
Yeah, we found out some other interesting things. So Red actually appeared in some of the beta Pokemon contests. So the protagonist from Fire Red Leaf Green was used in some of the contests. I think at one point you scroll past the design for Crash Awake, who looks like he's based on a Swampert. His original design had the ears and the eyes that really remind us of Swampert. Steven, it turns out, was being used in the game as a placeholder for Cynthia. So every time Cynthia appeared in the game, it was actually Steven that you ended up seeing. And Wally was used as... Oh, there's Pidgeot, actually. I think you just scrolled past Pidgeot, who looks fantastic. Yeah, we are.
So are we speculating that they just didn't have Cynthia ready as a concept yet? Or?
Yeah, exactly that. So the character was named Cynthia. The references were all to a female. And similar for Wally, who was used as a placeholder for your rival. It was always your rival's name, either Dawn or Lucas, who you would actually be talking to. So they were purely placeholders. But again, just another interesting thing about how they do the development for these games. And then 2 pieces of very cool random trivia. One is that originally Dawn or Lucas, so whoever your rival was, had a second bed in their bedroom that was removed. So there's speculation that maybe they had a sibling, or it could have been for their parents. But really interesting that there was a second bed. And probably my favorite fact of all is that actually your father turns up at the beginning of the game and talks to you at Lake Verity.
Wait,
so you would have had a father in this game.
What?
Yeah.
No,
so actually,
not in my Pokemon game.
The Japanese name translates to Papa or father. So it's clear that there was originally intended to be a father figure for your character in Generation 4. I mean, you had one in Generation 3 as well, so it wouldn't have been a new thing.
I guess you're right.
But just absolutely crazy to think that they took a parent away from you.
Oh, I can't even keep a straight face off that comment. That's fantastic.
Yeah, that was probably the most interesting thing that came out of the leak, is that actually there was a plot line. Well, we believe somewhat of a plot line around your father, and that entire thing was taken out.
There's one thing that the leak didn't give us, and I'll connect it to the next segment. Where the Helioptile is Pokemon Sleep? Where's the leak on Pokemon Sleep?
I know. It's like all this information has been hacked from Nintendo, but the one thing that everyone wants to actually get their hands on, Pokemon Sleep, They didn't bother.
It's
This is the hottest IP that Pokemon have come up with for
Yeah,
25 years, and the hackers didn't bother. I think it's a conspiracy.
I think
I think it's a conspiracy.
we should be like Thanos and just do it ourselves. I'm going to take some
Should we
courses on
hack?
YouTube.
We should hack. What you're saying? We should hack Nintendo for Pokemon Sleep.
I'm not saying that on the podcast where everyone can hear it. No, it's strange that we still haven't heard absolutely nothing. It's August
No,
now.
I'll tell you. No, but I know why. I tell you what it is. It's a conspiracy. The hackers went in. They were looking for Pokemon Sleep, and they found nothing. It's a conspiracy.
It just doesn't exist.
There's nothing there.
It's a
Yeah, they
figment
haven't
of our
done any work on
imagination.
it.
We've convinced ourselves
The
it actually
hackers,
exists.
the hackers would have found it. If it existed, the hackers would have found it.
Damn. Well, I hope you enjoy your update for Pokemon Sleep. Everybody, we're moving on. It's the podcast form news roundup. So first up on the podcast form news roundup is the fact that Pokemon Tournament DX is now available to try in its entirety for free on Nintendo Switch. For Nintendo Switch online players in US and Europe till August 4th. So you've got another couple of days. Any thoughts on Pokemon Tournament?
I really like the game.
Just 1 second. We just got a sub. Al Tribesman gifted a sub to Kessel Wings. Thank you very much, Al. Continue your point, Amit.
I was going to say, I really like Pokemon Tournament as a concept because it feels like the closest thing we've had so far to real Pokemon combat, where it's real time, you dodge in real time. The only thing that I think for me comes closer is Pokepark Wii 2, just slipping it in again.
Okay, I'm cutting you off there. The other update we've got is new raids in Pokemon Sword and Shield. Do you want to tell me the new raids in Pokemon Shield before we have to listen about Pokemon Pal Park 5 or whatever?
Yeah, so you can now catch ground types and water types in promoted raids in Sword and Shield. We have also rolled over to a new month, which means there's a new Series 5 ladder. So if you're playing VCG, then go check that out and earn your Amorite ore and battle points for this month.
Do you want to have a look at Please Be Excited's pun in the chat and maybe you save it for a week of where the hell is Pokemon Sleep?
I will absolutely do that.
Yeah, we're going to credit him. Don't worry, Ben. We'll credit you. Did you have anything significant to say about Pokemon Pal Park 5, or should I move on?
No, I was just going to say that I was actually reading an article last week when we were talking about the hardest challenges that exist in Pokemon games, which was a really fun episode actually, and well worth. If you think you've played every Pokemon game, go and check that list out because you won't have done all of them. But yeah, it was really interesting that actually lots of people were saying that the mechanics for Pokemon Tournament were derived from Pokepark Wii. And I was just reading some of the theories around it and the way in which the combat evolved. It's really interesting that like a lot of the ways the Pokemon move and some of the concepts for dodging and things seem to derive from Pokepark Wii. So all I'm saying is it's the best Pokemon game ever.
Next segment. Unknown fact of the week. I forgot what the section was even called. Oh dear. Yeah, unknown fact of the week. What's happening, dude?
Unknown fact of the week this week is Pokepark Wii. No, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. Unknown fact of the week.
I would have had to find a replacement. I would have actually had Ben on the podcast instead of you.
So, unknown fact of the week this week is that there is a theory that you killed your rival's Raticate in Pokemon Red and Blue.
That's a bit.
I'll let that settle for a second. Yeah, quite a dark one this week. So, when you fight your rival on the SSM in Red and Blue, one of his 6 Pokemon is a Raticate. And then when you next catch up with your rival, which is in Lavender Town, you meet him in Lavender Tower. He talks about one of his Pokemon having passed away, and that he's there to, pay his respects to one of his partners who didn't make it. And what's really interesting is that in that battle, your rival brings the same Pokemon that he did on the SSN, but there's one missing. So rather than a party of 6, he now has a party of 5, and missing from his team is that Raticate. So the theory is that actually you ended up killing his Raticate on the SSN, and your rival had to come to Lavender Town to say goodbye.
So what you're saying is we're the monsters in the Pokemon world.
We are absolutely the monsters.
I do sort of admire how subtle it is, though. The fact that you have to really
Yeah,
think about it.
yeah. I mean, it's obviously, I mean, it's quite a somber point, and they do kind of gloss over it a little in the game. But when you stop and think about it, you actually encounter your rival in a very, very large cemetery built to the sky, where he's talking about one of his Pokemon who's dead, and it's actually, when you think about it, a really depressing moment in the game. But it is kind of glossed over, both in the original games and in Fire Red, Leaf Green. Um, you basically your rival then just challenges you to a battle, and normal service is resumed. But the bit that people have stopped and thought about is actually, well, his team changes from a party of 6 to a party of 5, and of course, if the one that's missing is why he's in Lavender Tower, you could be responsible for Eradicate's death.
And people think Pokemon is a kid's game. Ha! I say, ha! Um, but yeah, that was unknown fact of the week, and we've got one more little tidbit for any other business. I'll give it a jingle. Why not? So you have stumbled across Yoshinoya, which is like a fast food chain in Japan, are doing a collaboration with Pokemon.
Yeah, I just wanted to pull this up and talk about it because I love the fact that like Pokemon is everywhere in Japan, and now it's in beef broth. So if you head over to, you have to say the name because I'll get it wrong.
So Yoshinoya, which you can practically find anywhere, like when I was staying in Japan, my hotel was always like a 2 minute distance from an Yoshinoya. They sort of serve
Yeah,
gyudon, which are like these beef bowls where you got beef and rice and whatnot. But you can find them
so
practically everywhere, really.
yeah, and what's really cool is that they're doing a collaboration with the Pokemon Company. So when you order Pokemori, you can get this dish, which comes in a wonderful Pokemon designed bowl. And at the bottom of the bowl is one of 7 characters. You can see them on the screen at the moment. So I think Donphan's there, Hippowdon, Rhypheria, Rhydon, Honchkrow, Numel, and I can't quite make out the one at the top. But there's some really cool designs there. It's Electros. That's the last one. I think you get a little Pokemon toy and a really cute little Pokemon juice box as well. So really, really cool. If you're in Japan, I am very jealous. I would love to go and pick up one of these. I think it's 488 yen, if I remember off the top of my head. But it's a really cute little thing and a really fun collaboration. So I just wanted to show it off, and I'm sure you'll all be just as excited as I was.
Do you know what? I actually really like the fact that you found something as niche as this. so, so yeah, long may it continue
I do
for
my
future
research for the podcast.
podcasts.
I always do
Yeah,
my research.
yeah, for sure.
I'm
I
very
really
thorough.
want to add quirky stuff like this to our little rotation on the podcast. So yeah, good spot. And yeah, have a beef bowl on us, guys. Have a beef bowl on us. Unless you're a vegan, then have what did they have dessert or something?
I don't know what vegan options are available. Forgive me.
Yeah, I
Did
never
not
actually
My
ate at
research did not
Yoshinoya,
extend
so
that
I've got
far.
no idea either. But yeah, that's been another episode of the PokeRamble Podcast. Do you want to take us out?
Absolutely. So thank you everyone who joined us live this week. As always, it's lovely to have people join us live and join us in the chat. We stream the podcast live every Sunday evening, 7:30 p.m. EST, British Summer Time, or 6:30 p.m. Universal Central Time, and you can work that out in your own time zones. Um, if you can't catch us live on Twitch, and obviously we'd love to have you, go check out Spotify, where we are PokeRamble Podcast. YouTube, again, search for PokeRamble Podcast, and all of your other good podcast streaming services. We are there as well. And very soon, hopefully, coming to the Apple Podcast service as well,
Yeah, so what's
where we've
happening with
had
that? Because I updated the art, which was the sticking point last time, and I've got no response from Apple. So you've taken it into your own hands, have you?
Yeah, I tried to take it into my own hands. So I've set us up an account with Apple Music. We're in the process of being verified, and then we'll basically be able to get the podcast live on Apple Music. So apologies for the delay there. But what is really cool is that we finally managed to get around the issues we were having with episode, I think it was 5,
6.
where we did or was it maybe 6?
Yeah, I always thought it was
Um,
5. It was actually 6.
It was 6, where we were reviewing the very best Pokemon intros, our musical episode, obviously, which gave us a huge load of copyright issues. So we finally got around the hurdle on that. That will be either going live or is live on YouTube. I think
So
it is live now.
it's on private at the moment. I just need you to go in there and just maybe edit the descriptions and whatnot. But it's there.
So coming at you by tomorrow morning, you will have episode 6, and then over the course of the next week, we'll be catching up all the other episodes on YouTube as well. So go find us there if you want to. I've been the Frontier Brain.
And I've been the other guy. Catch you next week.
We will see you next week.
Very important. Next week we will be doing the podcast at 8 p.m. rather than 7:30 p.m. This is due to me doing a quiz competition with Billy the Door. So follow Billy the Door on Twitter for details about that. But I'll be joined by a few other people, including the tribesman, Al Tribesman, for that quiz competition at Billy the Door. So 8 p.m. podcast rather than 7:30 p.m. podcast. Don't forget.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Goodbye.
Bye.